So the air here is a little bit different because I'm in a town called Tuxtla, and it's near San Cristobal. It's the capital of Chiapas, and it's actually much sunnier and warmer here than it is in San Cristobal. And I'm wearing short sleeves, as you can tell. And my friend got me these earrings that I'm wearing. So I'm just basically just taking a nature walk, maybe more like a nature sit. I'm basically just sitting in nature, and I'm being with myself, and I'm not even, I was listening to a YouTube video. I just sat with myself, and it feels really amazing, and it feels amazing to just be and exist and feel validated by your environment, because I learned this in my human design, but I knew this before, but it was just hard to put into words. But it's really just hard for me to be around other people because I feel like I'm always putting on a mask around other people, and the mask is for their protection. It comes from love, and in fact, if I love the people in my life even more, the mask will be on even more because I don't want to hurt them, and I want to protect them from feeling the extent of who I am, which is a very sad person. So there always has to be like a barrier between me and people in my life because I'm so like afraid that they'll see what. And the thing is, like, you know, people might say, well, why isn't it like that with your channel? Like, why don't you have that sort of relationship with your channel? You know, like, why don't you put them, why do you have to be so, and no one said this, I'm just, you know, creating the devil's argument in my head, like, you know, basically, am I so open and honest and authentic with my channel? In the eyes of others, at least, it looks like I'm being too real with my channel and just not real in my people relationships. Bugs everywhere. And I don't know, like, I'm trying to discover it here with you guys. The truth is, like, I don't know. I think that I just don't trust people, and I think that people that don't trust people will act in a certain way as a defense mechanism, so they'll be a little more guarded around other people. You know, in my case, I don't really trust my own feelings around other people. Like, I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, because I know, you know, people's feelings will get hurt. If they see that I, you know, someone, let's say, farts, and I go, ooh, right? Like, that's gonna hurt your feelings if I react to your fart. If I react to the way I feel around you, which is like, most of the time, it's just the fact that you're human makes me feel like, ooh, like I have to worry about certain things, because what if this happens? What if that happens? You know? So I've just been around way too many humans in my lifetime, and I've known way too many humans, and I know people have needs, and people's needs are so intricate, so deep, and people are actually very much like me. So at the end of the day, I really think it's just a matter of boundaries, because if there's no line between like where you end and where other people begin, then you're always gonna see yourself as a problem. And I've certainly have lived most of my life this way, is like I see myself as a massive problem. But the reality is like, you're not a problem unless you're, seeing yourself through the lens of somebody else who feels like you're a problem. And even then, you're a problem to them because you're encroaching in their boundaries that they may or may not have set. So like, you can be encroaching in somebody else's boundaries, you can be hurting somebody else's feelings, but still, if you have a sense of self, if you have a sense of your own, where you end, where others begin, you can still tell yourself, I'm not a problem. I've just have not had experience living that way. I've lived for basically my whole life with like zero boundaries. So, for example, someone says, hey, come into my house. Let's say, I'm just using this as an example. What would somebody with boundaries do? Like, so someone tells you, come into my house, and like someone you don't know says, come into my house, eat at my table, whatever, have dinner with me, and then sleep in my bed with me and my partner. Like, I'm just using this as an example. Let's say someone told you that, like, come and live with me, eat out of my plate, and sleep with me and my partner. You might think to yourself, like, wow, I really need love, and that sounds so wonderful. And you might not see that as a problem, like, or weird at all, like, to be, you might even see that as something so awesome. If you don't know what boundaries look like, if you don't know what it looks like for people to have their own space, for people to have their own time, for people to have their own bed, like their own plate with their own thing, you might just see that as normal, and you might walk into that situation. And then those people might have zero boundaries too. So they might like kind of invite you into a situation where they really genuinely want your love, want your whatever, but they also lack boundaries. So you might end up like sleeping in their bed, eating from their plate, being really close to them. And then there's like an uncomfortable situation where they get burned out because they don't feel like they have their own sense of self. And then they might lash out at you and say, you are so annoying. You are so this or that. Like, so they're going to have like all these things about you, about how you are. And then you, because you lack boundaries, also boundaries of a sense of self, will say, yeah, like I am this thing and that thing that you said. Like I am all these things basically. And then you're a problem, and you think of yourself as a problem, and you're like, oh my gosh, like I have to be completely away from other people, because whenever I'm around other people, then this happens, because you've had this experience before. But like it goes like in a back and forth extreme. So then you completely isolate from everybody because you're like, I don't want to hurt anybody. Like I don't want to be a problem. And you feel like a problem, and you really, really try to minimize, but then inevitably you're going to feel lonely because you're human, and humans need some kind of connection. So you're going to end up in another situation where like you're just so trying so hard to like not get into that again. No, you don't want to hurt anybody. You're trying so hard not to hurt anybody. You're like so guarded. You're trying so hard to not show your feelings. You're trying so hard. But it just happens. It comes out again because, then you just, someone says, hey, like, why are you so guarded? Why are you so fake? Why are you always pushing everybody away? And they'll really, really, really try. And it's going to be those people that like save you from your own isolation, from your own self-isolation. It's going to be those people that save you. But at the same time, it's also going to be those people that continue to pull you into that dynamic. And are like going back and forth between this, like, I have to be around humans because I'm starving for connection, and then you end up around it, but then you're trying so hard to not hurt them because you've had experience with your presence in other people's life being a problem and hurting them, even though you weren't trying to hurt anybody. Nobody is trying to hurt anybody. That's just something a lie that we've all been told, that people are evil. We learn this in movies. People are evil and there's a bad guy and he's like, ha 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 ha, I'm going to eat children. And that's how the bad guy is. No, the bad guy is never trying to hurt anybody. The bad guy thinks that they are doing the best thing ever. In fact, that is, most people are not trying to hurt. Even the people that are saying they're trying to hurt somebody, they're not. And the thing is, like, this is such a toxic way of thinking because it's really impossible to completely feel okay and at peace with yourself and all the parts of yourself when you can't feel at peace and okay with all the parts of being human. And like, if you're like sitting there demonizing, like, this person's bad, good, bad, good, bad, like the good guy, bad guy, if you're sitting there doing that, you're doing that with parts of yourself too. You're sitting there saying parts of yourself are good, parts of yourself are bad. It's not really a good way for you to learn how to accept the full you and be okay with yourself around other people, be fully present around others. So yeah, there's something going on in this park. I'm at a park, by the way. There's something going on here, and it's very beautiful. It's very nice. Yeah, it's a really nice park. I'm just sitting here in this like bench thing and just chilling and feeling my stuff, and the ability to communicate. It doesn't matter if like anybody's watching, but like the ability to know that someday somebody might connect with me in this way is so valuable, because like, I think that I'm really fake around other humans. I think that I really try so hard to not hurt people. I try so hard to not feel like a problem, but I feel like a problem. They don't have to do anything, and I just feel like that. And I absorb all the guilt of other people's feelings too. So like, if someone else is like, oh, I feel like whatever, it's so hard for me to not assume that it's my fault. And a lot of us have been kind of taught this from childhood, that we're just a problem, everything is our fault. Like, even what your parents do is your fault. Your parents get a divorce, or your parents hurt themselves, or your parents are raging, or like whatever your parents do is your fault. And whatever your grandparents do, literally, when you're a child, how are you going to know the difference between where you end, where other people begin? Like, it's so blurry. It's all so ambiguous. Rules. What are rules even? When you're a baby, the only rules that you know are the rules that you are taught. And if you're taught that everything is your fault, then why would you not believe that? And in fact, you will create your personality. What even is your personality? Your personality is just like a set of experiences molded into your psyche, basically, and mixed with whatever your DNA is already. But like, as far as rules and things like that go, like, you're if you're raised to think that you're a problem, you're just gonna go around acting and thinking like that. And I think a lot of people have been raised to feel like they were a problem from very childhood, raised to feel like very strongly about that, like things are their fault. And again, nobody does this to you because they're trying to hurt you. People don't try to hurt people. That's something that that's something that some people say to make themselves feel better as a bandage for how they feel. It feels good to say that there's like an evil person out there, because then they don't have to feel, because it's also like, it comes from a lack of boundaries. So if I say that, let's say my parents hurt me, and if I say that my parents are evil, they're the worst people on the planet, I might feel this way. And sometimes I say this when I'm feeling that way. Like, you know, I don't say it now so much, but like when I was younger, I would say that. I would say like, my parents are the worst, whatever. And I would rage. And every once in a while now I'll rage at my parents. I'll try to do it in private, but, you know, definitely not to them. But if you actually believe that, like you actually believe that people are like evil and like they're trying to hurt you and they're trying to be like the worst to you. So it feels good in the moment to say that, yeah, some people are just rotten at the core. They're just evil. They're just like, you know, they're just evil. There is no coming back from whatever that is that they are. And it could make you feel better, because then you can validate yourself and you can say that you're okay as a person and you're not a problem. But then you also believe that people are evil, and that there are traits and qualities that are impossible to come back from. And inevitably, you're gonna do something or say something or make somebody feel in a way that reflects just like how you felt when your parents did that to you. And you're going to think of yourself as evil because it looks exactly like that evil thing. And when that happens, when somebody reacts to you the way that you react to your parents, when somebody reacts to you and says, you're evil, or you did this thing to me, or when you actually do something that reminds you of your parents, because you will do things that will remind you of your parents, because you are literally of the DNA of your parents, you're gonna see yourself as evil and not able to come back from it, from whatever that thing is. And when you see yourself as like very set in stone and like, I can never be, and obviously I do this too a lot, where it's like, I can never be like this, I am just like this, and you just really, really, really start to believe yourself as like a certain way. It just spirals into whatever that energy is over time, you know, until you decide that you don't have to be that thing. Like until you decide that until you decide to accept all the different parts of it. And accepting all the different parts of it is gonna come with accepting all the different parts of being human, which comes with accepting that humans are not good and evil. Morality is not like good and evil. That is something that a very sick society has taught you. It is not a progressive, not in a political, but like a progressive, like it is not a way of thinking that progresses society. Like to think that humans are just good and evil, you know? We're humans. You can take anybody. You can take anybody. And usually it's just levels of health, really. It's levels of health, of wellness, basically. So you can take someone who is doing everything they possibly can to keep themselves grounded and keep themselves okay, but they're just a very, very flighty person. They're very easily rocked. You can take that person, and whenever I'm single, it's like this. I have these like very rigid schedules for myself, things that I eat to keep myself sane. I would like do these things, and then people would always tell me like, why are you you know, I had like these very rigid structures. I would exercise every day. I would do all these things. You know, I was just a very sensitive person, and people would always say like, you're so perfect, like you're so good, you're so, you know, and a lot of women, when they live with themselves, like a lot of people, humans, men, women, when you're by yourself, you have like a rigid structure, nobody is able to touch it, there isn't really a lot of movement outside of it, and so you're just constantly able to self-regulate in like a certain way that you do it. And then you go out in the world and people see you and they're like, wow, you are so good, you are so legit, you're so beautiful, you're so whatever the thing is that they see you as. And you think to yourself, you have no idea, dude. Like, I have such a meticulous environment that I've created for myself and a lifestyle to keep myself from going crazy. And if you were to take someone out of that, which is really the case, like, you know, this multiple times is like this. Like, if you were to take me out of that like little bubble that I created for myself, I would be a crazy wreck. I would be much worse than any crazy person that you think you know. Any bad person that you think you know. And then on the flip side, there are some people that are so strong, but you can take even a strong person and you can put them in a really bad environment, give them no structure, especially if they have any traumas, give them all kinds of structure and give them all kinds of chaos and take them out of structure, make them really, really have to suffer, you know, like, put them through the ringer, I don't know, you can take someone who, you can basically make anybody crazy, you know, even somebody that hasn't been primed from birth, humans are humans. Humans will act out, they will react. We will react from feeling hurt, from feeling triggered. So, you know, I really don't think that there's good and evil. I think that there's just different levels of what we can handle. And some of us can handle so much more than other people. And I really believe that the only way to healing is to first really just understand and accept that you're not a problem. You just have certain limitations with what you can handle. You can be so respectful of people as long as you have certain needs met. You can, you know, and you don't have to expect it from anybody. You can do this for yourself. Other people end with them and their body and their responsibility. You end with yours. And if you're not going to, if you're going to be the person who says, hey, come to my house, like if you're that person, or you're the person that accepts that without like knowing exactly like at what line would you not continue moving forward, and at what line would you not feel comfortable for them to continue moving forward? Like, where are your lines? Where are your boundaries? If you don't really have that, you're inevitably going to do something that, or the other person will inevitably do something that is going to cross a boundary. And then inevitably somebody is going to react because they should, because they're human. So they're gonna feel a certain way from it, they're gonna react a certain way. And then inevitably somebody is going to feel evil, and inevitably it's going to be spiral into a really hard situation. For me, like, the end of it is basically death. If I can't learn how to exist in this world and be around other people in like a basic way, or not even be around other people, but just not hurt people. Like, if I can't be on the planet and feel like I'm not hurting people, death is like literally the only the only like purpose for me, because there's like no point. That's how I see myself. But which, by the way, if you guys like, I know I'm plugging in my human design session, but I had a human design reading with Francis Cassidy, which is like, you can see the description, the link to that below if you don't know what human design is. It's like everybody kind of has who they are and their unique aspects, unique flaws, weaknesses, strengths, limitations, whatever. Everybody has like the unique way that they are and the way that it fits with the world. And there's like a purpose to everybody on this planet. There's a purpose to how you are, because you fit with the world in a certain way. And like we said, and you know, if everybody was exactly the same and fit exactly the right way and the same way, then we wouldn't have this like beautiful ecosystem with things looking diverse and feeling different. Like, everyone is different and there is a purpose to you. You know, maybe other people won't tell you this because they're not your parents, so it's not really like their job to be responsible for you. But you have to hear it from somebody. So maybe, you know, hear it from me. Like, everybody has a purpose. Even like if you think that you're just so crazy and you're just gone, whatever. I don't want to be responsible. Like, I don't want to tell you, like, I don't want to come here and say like, yeah, if you're you know, bipolar, like, you're not really bipolar. You just have you just haven't been heard enough in your life. You haven't been loved enough in your life. You don't have the tools to like validate yourself. Like, I don't want to come and say that, because then there's going to be people in my comments that are like, oh, you're evil. Like, you know, bipolar is real and whatever. Like, I don't want to do that. But if you want to hear it, I just want, you know, I think that it's my purpose, at least, that if somebody were to want to hear it, that they can come click on this channel and hear that you have a purpose, and like everybody has a purpose. Everybody, you know, and if you really want proof of that, you know, you can book a human design reading. You can book it with Francis. You don't have to book it with Francis, but Francis was amazing, and he did like it's a 90-minute session, and he gave me a discount code that you guys can use my name. Yeah, like, my arm is hurting. So anyway, this is like a thing that I struggle with, but I don't believe it's just me. Like, this is part of what keeps me going, is like, I know that it's not me. Like, everybody that I talk to, like everybody that I know about has these feelings. And another thing that's so sad to me is that like everybody thinks that they're completely fucked up and like alone, sorry for cussing, completely alone in their feelings and in the way that they are, and being like this and being, oh, I'm too sensitive and I'm crazy or this or that. Everybody feels and thinks alone, but we're all literally the same. Like, we all have the same, to varying degrees, we all have a lot of the same problems. And I don't think that there's anything for you to lose by admitting that to other people or to yourself. And just being okay with being who you are in front of other people, other than the fear that they might tell you. They might tell you that you're crazy and that you should like end yourself, or that you should, you know, go and kill parts of yourself, go take drugs, like take opiates to like kill certain parts of yourself slowly over time. I mean, if you do, great, that's your choice. This is a really nice part. I don't even know what I'm saying. Here, let's walk a little bit. So this is the park that we're in, and the road is like right there. That's the road. And this is kind of like a running path. People are like walking through. Gosh, I don't actually feel like walking around with my phone, my camera. I like this place, but it feels like too much of a city for me. Like, I think that I get so sensitive with loud noises, too much stimulation, lots of sounds. I get easily aggravated with everything around me. I'm so easily aggravated, bothered. And here's the thing, when you're like easily aggravated, bothered, stressed out, when you're like in your fight or flight, especially, like fight or flight meaning like, this is how I feel a lot of times. Like, I literally become paranoid and freaked out that there's people trying to kill me. And honestly, I don't think that it's crazy, because I've been in enough worlds that this kind of fear existed. Like, you know, I've been in enough situations that did actually warrant that kind of fear. The fact that I'm not in it right now is just a delayed reaction, delayed and kind of grown, because I didn't fully resolve those fears. When you're in a state of fight or flight and you really feel like aggravated, then anybody that comes to you, anybody that is around you, you're gonna hurt them. You're gonna fight with them. You're gonna bring them into that fight or flight energy, and they're gonna get aggravated, and they're gonna say, well, you are crazy, like you're like the worst person ever. But they're not seeing like a healthy version of you. They're just seeing a version of you that's aggravated. So of course they're gonna see that, but it's your job as a human to like realize where they end and you begin. And it doesn't matter if anyone thinks of you in a certain way. God. So anyway, I'm just gonna keep making these videos. Like, I don't give a shit who thinks it's so weird. Like, oh, Pardes, like you're sharing things that like nobody else experiences. You just look crazy. No, I don't look crazy. Literally everybody I know experiences this stuff, and people tell me sometimes, and then they tell me, and then they're like so embarrassed, and they're like, oh my god, like I never want to talk to you again because like I'm scared that you're gonna tell people. I'm not gonna. This is not new to me. Like, we all have these things, and just normalize being human, guys. So I don't even know what the name of this video is, but I'm in Tuxtla Gutierrez. It's a really beautiful city. It's a city. It's very loud. It's like just, I get very easily aggravated with so much stimulation outside. I get very easily anxious. I like need to be medicated or something, because when I'm here, it's just like I need to be like in nature mostly. So it's a nice place, but it's not my environment. It's not my ideal place. Like, I would much rather be in a warm place, kind of like where we were before. We were in Tulum. I really enjoyed that. We had to leave for high season and different things that happened, but like I really liked Tulum, and I think I really enjoy like warm weather, very simple, not a lot of sounds, like not a lot of craziness. Yeah, anyways, see you guys. Hope you're having a great day wherever you are.